Hi all my friends. This is a live update video that I want to share with everybody. I am getting closer to being home, and I also wanted to remind everybody that I have had a deadline to be home because I have a doctor's appointment. And so I have to be home or get to this appointment by June 7th. And one of the reasons is while I was on the road, I found out that my doctor was only working 1 day a week. So that was the big change. And so I cannot miss this appointment. I mean, even to get this appointment, I was booked way over a month in advance just to get in by this June 7th appointment. So with her only seeing people 1 day a week, there's a B, I can't miss this appointment, because then with 1 day a week, who knows how far I could be booked out before I could see her again. Oh my gosh, hold on. I decided to move. That's the reality when you're in the outdoors, is bees and stuff like that. Anyway, so yeah, so what I want to talk about is you know, all of us that travel have to have a domicile. So we have to have a place that we call our residence, our home state of residence. And mine is still Oregon. And in that one, obviously, you'll need to have your license, your driver's license. You'll have to have, just your mail and stuff like that, things that are going to need to go to that state. Well, if you're especially up there in age, and I'm going to call maybe 55 plus, you're going to need to also have doctors, or if you don't need a doctor on a regular basis by that time, you probably will at some point, because after you get that age on up, our whole bodies can change without even a notice. Okay, and I mean, it can happen pretty quickly. I've known that with people and friends in my life, because really a lot of my friends are, in the 50, 55 plus on up in age, and I've seen that happen to my friends, or maybe some of my friends, spouses. So anything can happen in a heartbeat. Okay. So we all have to have that place that we need to get back to see our doctors. If you're on medications, you are required to see them within a period of time, or they won't give you any refills and stuff like that. So keep that in mind if you are traveling and have any health issues or concerns, that you still need that. And sometimes people that are not of our age or that age don't realize that, because it really does change as you get older. Okay, now when you are on the road, I mean, some of the most popular of getting meds is CVS pharmacy and also Walmart. I've chosen Walmart. I know some people that use both. It depends on the medication that they need more frequently, or ones that they might not need as often. So everyone has to figure out that one for themselves, what's going to work for them. Okay, so but for me, it's Oregon is my domicile. That's where I need to get back, my doctors and refills. And I also have to have some further upcoming testing, more testing of other things that are required. One's required that I need, and one is an upcoming one that's just going to need to be done. And so anyway, so keep that in mind. Yeah, that we all have to do that. And then hopefully at the end of the summer, then I could go and go back out and travel and do all the things that that in the fall and travel and go back. And but it really depends on the doctor on how much refills that they're going to give you, okay? And what you can work out with your own personal doctors, because some doctors, are going to be very strict. They're going to say, no, I'm not going to do anything past 3 months, or I'm not going to do anything past 6 months, okay? Some might even do up to a year. It just really depends on the doctor. Mine was really stuck about not doing anything more than 6 months. But luckily I had enough meds previously before that to get me a little longer. But this time when I go back, I'm going to really push for her to give me 1 year, okay? And tell her why. Because one of the things that I figured out was trying to get back home. I mean, oh my gosh, who'd think that, or I didn't know that the springtime can really have some of the most craziest weather and wind and and storms and thunderstorms and you name it when you're coming from the south or southwest and all those areas. So those are things that you just don't consider. Or if we have a really hard winter, and we did, and trying to get back north, and so these are things that my doctor is going to have to consider, that we can't predict the future, we can't predict the weather, and we can't, so there needs to be a little more of a wiggle room than 6 months. So this is something to keep in mind for those that might be traveling or with a doctor, or but I mean, obviously you have a choice. If your doctor doesn't work with you, then maybe changing doctors. So those are options as well. But yeah, so those are the things that can come up when you're traveling with medical issues, and that sometimes we don't think about until we're hit with those circumstances that happen, as we're traveling. The other thing I probably would like to mention for those out there, and if you are 60 or up there, or 55, or, we always think that, because your health is good, that it's always going to stay that way. And remember, it's not. That can change in a heartbeat. I had a friend that was at the coast with her husband, and he was 56 when this happened, and they were just on a very nice, out traveling, doing a little bit of the coast trip, and then her husband ended up having a stroke, right there. And so, and afterwards he never was quite the same. He couldn't see very well from that point on with his night vision, okay? So anything can happen. I have a friend who also is up there in age, and when he's still working, but he has this dream of retiring and traveling, and and he's a friend back at home, my home state. And well, he had one autoimmune illness, and well, it's just snowballed, and now he ended up coming down with 2 other autoimmune issues. So now, unfortunately, he may be limited on medicines and where he could go, where he can travel, because now he really needs more doctors on a more full-time basis. So, any of that can change. And he always thought, well, I got tomorrow, I could retire, I can do all these things. And I kept telling him, enjoy life, just get out there, don't wait, because anything can change. Well, and he's like 64 and thinking, well, I'll retire, I really want to do this. Well, now he's hit with all these other issues that unfortunately could cause him to, not be able to travel, or travel as far as he thought he could travel, if he would have just retired a few years before that period of time. And he might not have been hit with these other issues because stress. I mean, so many of us are hit with stress when you're working, trying to keep going, trying to keep up with the demands. And I don't think he really would have been hit with some of these other physical issues if he would have just retired, like he wanted to. So those are some things to think about as we get up there in age, and putting things off until tomorrow, or thinking until we have tomorrow, and to get out there and, travel, you know, or especially, like I said, I want to really talk to the 55 plus up community, that, you know, people that, you know, are really thinking about doing this or when I retire. But, you know, we put off retirement as well, you know, always trying to get more money, more things, more stuff. And unfortunately, you may not have that option. And one other last thing, remember, my ex-husband passed away 1 week from being 62 years old of stage 4 liver and colon cancer. So, you know, he never saw retirement. You know, it's just sad. I mean, it is so sad. I just, you know, it breaks my heart to know that that can happen. And so anyway, so I just hope these things definitely is an eye-opener. You think about them. Yeah, and because, you know, we only have one chance in life to, you know, to make or bring our happiness, make our happiness. And sometimes if we make one wrong move, we don't get sometimes a second chance or another option, okay? So that's why when my health issues did this to me, and which I've always loved to travel, always wanted to be nomadic, and just, you know, as I got into retirement age, I wanted to travel, and I am getting to do this now, and because I don't have any guarantee of how long I'm going to be here, and so, or what's going to happen with my body, health issues. So I am so glad that I am taking this opportunity, not waiting until tomorrow, you know, and embracing this now, because I want no regrets. And that's what I kind of want to leave with everybody. You know, and I hope everybody out there, as you make your choices in life, that you have no regrets, okay? Because I'm sure my friend back at home that kept sitting on retiring, and he has a $70,000, you know, motorhome, Class A, and I'm sure right now he is regretting, you know, waiting to get out there and hit the road, because now his whole world has changed, and I really don't think he'd be as bad as he is now health-wise if he would have just retired, you know, at that 62. Okay? All right. Have no regrets, everybody, and I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. And one more thing, though, I almost forgot the most important thing too, is that as I'm traveling, I'm almost home. I may not get to comments until probably Sunday-ish or so, because I'm on hot pursuit to, you know, I'm going to film a couple things in Oregon that I want to film for you all. And but because of weather, I had to get back home. I had to get here. And so I needed to get closer to home. There's some cool things that I want to film for everybody as I'm working my last stretch, getting into my hometown. And but I may be in and out of areas that may or may not have reception. So yeah, so when I get back in to areas or get back home, then I'll get back to these past videos and finish up the comments, okay? All right, so now I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. No regrets.